Hey everyone, Charles here. And first of all, thank you for stopping by my podcast. If this show inspires you, makes you think, or gives you that courage to jump into action, please help by donating to this show. Click the link in the description and donate. Your donation helps us with production and finding great guests moving forward. Thank you and enjoy.
You know you should be doing something different, right? Hey, I'm talking to you. Do you believe that you have the gift for greatness or have a special talent, but don't have the courage to take that next step? Always wondering how others made it look so easy. Well, welcome to Jump, the show that will bring you special guests just like you and me. How did they get the courage to jump into greatness, doing what they love and living the good life? So get ready to jump with your host, Charles Matthews Jr.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the Jump Podcast. Now, if this is your first time, where have you been all this time? You should have been here. We've had multiple great guests, but don't worry, I brought you another one. Now, jump is not jumping up and down. Jumping is jumping into greatness, jumping into your future, because I believe everybody has success and greatness in them. But you might be a little scared, standing at the edge, and you're like, I don't know if I should do it. Well, we're here to help you give that little push. Now, my next guest is going to help you with different situations in life, and we're going to hear that story right now. So please welcome my special guest. Let's give her a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, how you doing?
I am doing fine.
Great to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. So first, before we get started, where are you calling in from?
I am calling in from Arlington, Virginia, which is right outside Washington, D.C.
Okay. So right now it is kind of cold outside. What's the weather like where you are?
It is a little colder than normal for spring, that's for sure. We would like spring to make up its mind, frankly.
I totally get it. All right, so give us some background story on you, just to get to know you a little bit. Born and raised, where are you from?
Oh, I am from Washington, D.C., born and raised. I am a wife, and I'm the mother of twin sons who are recent college graduates. So they're out on their own working. I'm very proud of them. And I have to say that really they were the motivation, the catalyst for this career that I'm in, working with parents and helping them to reach the next level of parenting and family.
Well, it's funny that you say that. We have a lot of twins running in my family as well. My grandmother, my niece, we got a lot of twins in our family. Tell us one story. Did they ever try to switch on you?
They can't switch on us because they are fraternal twins. They look very different, have very different personalities. They have not tried to switch on us, but I have to tell you, as competitive as they can be, with each other, friendly competition, what have you. No doubt about it. If one of them is in trouble, they will band together, and that can even be against mom and dad. Now that I will tell you they'll do, even today.
There you go. That's what brothers sticking together. So growing up, what was your dream? What did you want to become?
I wanted to be, at one point, an attorney, and at another point, an optician.
Okay.
Optometrist, I'm sorry. Mm-hmm.
So where did that steer you, and where did it change in your future?
It changed actually my last year of high school, because even during high school, I had studied in the sciences. So I was preparing for potentially continuing to be on that track. But I changed my mind and just felt like I wanted to do fashion merchandising. And so I will tell you, though, that what I think is interesting about all three of those occupations is that certainly two of them are very much tied to vision and telling people what what they're going to need and what they're seeing and interpreting it for them. And then in a way, the attorney does that as well, but also that's kind of presenting some authority and telling others the way things should be.
Yeah, the help you wanted to have that the vision of helping and nurturing and sending them in the right direction and helping them out. So then, is that where this whole thing with the parenting came about, your twins came about? Like, how did that all lead into where we are today?
Well, I came home for maternity leave, thought it would be a short, 4 months, 6 months maybe, but I kept extending because I absolutely fell in love with my twins. And so once I decided that I would stay home after about 13 months, because one son was diagnosed with some developmental delays. And when I saw what we would need to do in terms of getting him to work with specialists, speech and language, occupational therapists, that kind of thing, I said, there's no way that I'm going to go someplace and work and have someone else driving my child around to those appointments. And I'm really so glad I did, because by attending those appointments, I learned so much about human development, child development, and certainly parenting, what children need in general, and certainly when you have a child that's facing some particular challenges. And so when they were about 2.5 years old, God appeared to me in a dream and told me that everything that you're learning, you're going to be sharing that with other parents. And, I couldn't believe it. I said, God, you've got to be kidding. Nobody wants to hear me speak. And he said, yes, they will want to hear you speak, and they're going to pay you. And so that's when I knew for sure that I wasn't heading back to corporate marketing, because that's what I had been doing at that time. And so that's why I'm here. I mean, really, this is where he placed me. I never would have thought that this was what I would do. But honestly, I'm not even sure if I would have done quite the deep dive. I would have strived to be a good parent, but to really learn about child development and how you acquire skills, how all of the systems work together, fine motor, gross motor, neurological. I don't know if I would have taken that kind of a deep dive, but I'm very thankful that I did, for my child's sake and as well as for my business.
So then let's go back to the business. When did you start? Like, when was after, you had that vision and everything, and you're like, okay, what was it like? It's like, do I go left? Do I go right? You told me to start. Which way do I go? Like,
it was that way for quite a few years. Thankfully, what he told me after he laid all of this out and told me who to contact to help me, he said, but get them into kindergarten. So that gave me 3 years before I would start. Then, of course, the 3 years went by. But I was afraid. This was so huge. I mean, not only was it a new career direction, but this was something I was supposed to launch by myself. So that took it took some time for me to gather up the courage. So in 2009, so that was probably about 6 or 7 years later, I started a company with another mom. And so we did start working with nonprofit organizations in the community, delivering workshops and classes. And also we actually were fortunate to work under a Department of Education grant too. So that was wonderful. So we did that for a while, but I was still feeling restless because the business was not going in the direction that I feel like God had painted that picture for me. So I started to branch out a bit on my own. I had the opportunity to launch a parenting radio show.
okay.
And that was a wonderful experience. And after that, I did that for 6 years. I was even named Radio Personality of the Year. That was 2019. And then in 2019 also, I was named the District of Columbia Mother of the Year by American Mothers Incorporated. They are the organization that owns the copyright for Mother's Day. And, and they are the organization they are today stems from the organization that was founded by back during the Civil War. It was a way to bring families together. Eleanor Roosevelt was instrumental in moving it forward. And so it has evolved into American Mothers Incorporated. So that's really how I got here. And then the Parenting 411, I just expanded that platform. That was the name of the radio show that I launched in 2015. So I just carried that forward it became the umbrella for all of the public speaking I was doing, the classes I was doing, the radio show at the time. But now I have the Parenting 411 podcast.
Nice. So in the Parenting 411 podcast, is it mainly for what direction? Like, where is your main focus is?
My main focus is to find experts that parents can learn from. My mission is to deliver information parents need from sources they can trust. And so I certainly cover those areas such as behavior and communication and those things that parents worry about all the time. Like, I want my child to listen to me. I want my child to do what I say and all of that. But I branch out into education, mental health, mental wellness, what's going on in society, politics, racial justice, that kind of thing, how that also impacts the family. So I get to meet some amazing people with wide-ranging talents and expertise. I can't wait. I have someone coming up that's really going to talk about how the brain works. I can't wait for that. So I try to bring that kind of information because I remember when I was a mom, really trying to secure all of the resources for my child to help him with his particular challenges. And then even my other son, and having to look in so many different sources, not knowing who to trust. So I am trying to make it easier for parents today.
So then let's go back to when you start. What was your downfalls and your pitfalls? Because I always tell everybody, I believe you learn from your failures. Okay, they show you which direction to go, what to do. So let's start with the business. When you first started the business, what did you make the mistake and you learn from? You're like, oh, why did I do that? I could have done it this way. Tell our listeners how you learn from your mistakes.
Well, I would say for starting from the business, I would say early in my business, because I had a vision. Even after God told me to do this and I was afraid, I still gave some thought to how it could work. And so I really had a model where I was going to really monetize all of the expertise that I had been acquiring, because I had also become certified as a parent educator. And I was going to monetize that, and really through classes and workshops and and products, actually. And then I would be able to take a more philanthropic approach, do more work for organizations that couldn't afford to pay me, or do more free opportunities. And so what happened when we started our company early on, we really started off really doing a lot of work, giving away a lot of knowledge, giving away a lot of our services. And while you can do a little of that when you're testing your concept, you can't go year after year like that. So I definitely feel like we spent a little too much time that way. So that's something. I would also say just not being fully obedient and faithful to the vision. Because I went all around the mulberry bush from what God had told me to do. Like I hesitated in reaching out to those people that he told me, specific people he told me could help me. Because I said, they're busy. She's working on her PhD. She's doing this. She's doing that. She can't help me. And the funny thing is, those very same people, now this was a conversation that we had almost 20 years, God and I, right. Those very same people are helping me today.
It's just, and you took so long to jump on.
Yes. So when you get an idea, start working on it. You may have to refine it and course correct, but you've got to get going. My business coach says, stay in motion, because when you're in motion, that's when resources come to you, thoughts occur to you, because you're moving. But if you're sitting back and waiting for things to be perfect, you're not going to get anything done. I mean, right. Good and done is better than perfect and none.
So I heard you say you had a coach. Why you felt like you needed to get a coach?
So that I could be, first of all, she had a lot of knowledge. She has a lot of knowledge that I don't have. She has a lot of experience. And also just to hold me accountable. I mean, I continue to work with her in a different capacity, but I continue to consult with her. And I just love the way her mind works. She's so courageous. And when she thinks of something, she starts taking action in that area. And as I said, she course corrects later. And so that has given me courage to find things. Like I just launched another product the other week just because of something I saw. It would have taken me 2 or 3 years to think about that before, but like it's getting ready to launch.
Right. And
So,
that's my main thing why I bring special guests like you on. It's like, go get it. You'll never know if it works or not if you just go get it. It took me over a year to start my podcast. And I'm like, why is it taking me so long? I came from the radio industry. So microphone in my face 24/7. This is what I do. But it took me over a year to start the podcast because the same thing. I was afraid to do it. They want to reach out. Oh, I'll call them tomorrow. I'll call them later. So I love that idea that it's time. It's your time. Go get it.
mm-hmm.
All right. Well, it's time to get to know you a little bit more. It's now time for rapid fire. What does that mean? We're going to ask you 2 minutes on the clock. You get to choose your own rapid fire questions, A, B, C, or D. Now you can elaborate, but remember, you only got 2 minutes on the clock. So you got to answer all your questions in those 2 minutes. So you need to give me A, B, C, or D. And those are the questions I'm going to ask you. Which ones would you like?
Oh, I have to select without having any idea what the questions are going to be. Okay. Well, I think I'm just going to go with C for Carol.
There you go. I like that thought process. All right. 2 minutes on the clock start when I ask you the first question. Starts now. What is success to you?
Success to me is knowing that you are operating in your gifts and in your purpose, and you are feeling fulfilled, and the people that you're serving are getting their needs met, whether it's family or business.
Sunset or sunrise?
Sunrise, because with sunrise, you see the light and possibilities of a new day. You can turn your back on what happened yesterday. You can start fresh.
What is your favorite color?
Oh, my favorite color is navy blue.
Chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate.
What's your favorite food?
Lasagna.
What's the best fashion advice you've ever gotten?
Somehow I didn't hear the best fashion something. You froze.
Yep. What was the best fashion advice you ever gotten?
Oh. Use accessories.
What's the first thing you notice about somebody when you meet them for the first time?
Their teeth.
I like that one. What is the best compliment you've gotten since you started your company?
Well, the best compliment was how I changed a family's life, particularly a parent that was going through a divorce. She said that my advice and my information helped to change her relationship with her children.
Nice. And the last one is, what advice would you give someone starting a career like yours?
Learn as much as you can about child development, as well as parenting and relationships.
There you go. With 4 minutes, seconds on the clock, you made it through rapid fire. We're going to take a quick break. Don't go nowhere. We'll be right back. CMJ Entertainment is a one-stop shop. CMJ Entertainment helps people do any type of events, and it's a marketing tool as well. So we'll cover everything from start to finish. If it's a wedding, we'll make sure your wedding is over the top. And if it's an event, we make sure that everybody gets information at the end of the day. Give us a call at 416-414-8964 or online go to cmjent.com.
Hey, it's okay if you're driving or too busy to take notes. Charles has your parachute packed with all the info you need to jump into success. Check out the links section for all the tools you need to land safe. Now, let's keep falling with Charles and his special guest.
Yes, we're back live. Now, one question that I didn't get to ask you because it's in another section, but I really want to get this question to you because it's interesting. How do you start your day? What's the first thing you do when you wake up? I want to know, how do you start your day to get you promoted, get you pumped, get you going?
The first thing I do is head to the bathroom because I want to come back and have my prayer time, and I just don't want that to be interrupted. So I have my own prayer. I have particular scriptures that I like that I repeat to myself. I also envision what I plan to do that day, and also certain goals, like if there's certain new habits that I'm trying to adopt. I will repeat that. And I also take time visualizing what my 10X life is going to be.
Okay. Okay. So now we talked about, getting to the next step. We talked about, having, in that future, you have kids, but you want to move forward. You want to do a new project. A lot of parents always say, I never have time to do anything. I have in front of a computer, then the little one comes here, and then that one comes here. What do you tell parents that are trying to do multiple tasks, how to handle their situation?
Well, first of all, have a game plan. I mean, in terms of your day, I know that things happen, but in general, have a framework for how your day is going to go. Have a regular bedtime, because sometimes our children, they kind of, their activities and their needs kind of go in overtime. It's not that we don't love them and we don't want to make sure they have what they need, but at a certain point, they need to go to bed. So use those hours afterwards. I mean, make sure you're still going to get a certain amount of rest. Like I need 7 hours. Eight's almost a little too much, but I need 7 hours. So,
Okay.
Figure out what that is for you and then back that up in terms of when the children need to shut down. And then if you have older children who have later bedtimes, it's okay. They can still do their thing. They can do their homework, but they can also know that this is quiet time for mom and dad or whatever. So that's first of all. And then recognize that you may not be able to do everything to the level that you want to do it because, it really depends on how much your children need you and depend on you in terms of their age. But you just add on a little bit more. You can read, you have podcasts, you have webinars, things. You don't have to leave your home. You don't have to go attend a conference and worry about who's going to take care of your family. You can actually learn these things at home. So always continue to learn. I talk about this in an anthology that I participated in, and the name of it is Scaling Up from Marketing Manager to Mother of the Year. And so I had 5 C's, and that was connect, because first of all, the children are the priority. So make sure you connect with them. The next thing is to create systems. And then you need to compile your assets. Like, what do you already have that will help you in this current situation? And then what do you need? Go out and get what you need to help you in this season of your parenting. The next thing is continue to learn. Always be reading, always be watching, always be talking to people, meeting people that are doing what you want to do. And take notes, compile all of that information because you're going to need it later, because after that is the 5th C, and that's to conquer the moment. So when it comes up, you're ready to go.
So here, let me ask you this question then. When I say parenting, it's not just one, it's 2. How do 2 of us work together? Mother and father work together to get that done. So for example, father has his own business he's starting. Mom wants to go back to school. We have the kids. How do we work together so both of us can jump and finish at the finish line first, that we're both helping each other out?
Well, again, even with your relationship, just as there are seasons in parenting, there are seasons in marriages and partnerships. So, you probably can't both go to school at the same time. I mean, you've got to pay tuition, 2 tuitions and all of that. So agree on that. And just recognize that there's going to be, a time when the spouse is going to have to spend more time with the children. We had that situation. My husband was starting a company, and it was just as I was beginning to really do a lot of parent education with a nonprofit group in the community. And so I kind of had to step back a little bit because he was starting his company. He was traveling a lot. So I stepped back. I didn't stop doing it. I just didn't teach as much, but still continue to learn because I knew that was where I was going ultimately. And so honestly, now that my children have launched, I get to do a lot more work even now And my husband, in the later years, he's always been helpful whenever he could, but he stepped in, and then like even now, he makes it easy for me to do what I do, speaking engagements and writing and whatever. He supports me in that because he feels that I supported him in his earlier ventures.
Now, has there ever been a time where you've been too much overwhelmed? Like, during the year when the kids is like, and you just said, okay, I'm done. Because a lot of the things that I realize when I'm listening to different people that they want to start, they get overwhelmed and then their vision just stops. Can you talk about that?
Yes, absolutely. You can get overwhelmed because life happens. You might have elderly relatives, parents that you're taking care of. I had that situation as well. And so there were times when I just sort of dropped. I mean, I kept the basics of my business going, but there were some things that I had to drop. And I just had to recognize that being with my mother or helping her was more important. And then that was earlier on, but then in more recent years, God said, I know that's your thing, that when something comes up, you just drop stuff. He said, I need you to learn how to keep doing both. And so I didn't get that. I didn't really get that message until around 2018, to be honest. And so that's what you have to do. Just do it in the capacity that you can do it. But if there's something going on that's important in your life that you need to do, take care of that. You won't regret it. I don't regret. I'm thankful for the time that I had with my mother.
So then let's dive into this, because I know every time I see this, I'm jealous. I'm envious that you're now an author. You wrote a book. I'm like, it takes time to get into the book. Let's talk about that.
Sure. So I wrote a mini motherhood memoir. It's called Mother's Work, Pearls of Wisdom and Gems from My Journey. And so because there were moments when I certainly became overwhelmed, but there were these anchors. When I looked back over my experience, I realized that there were certain anchors in my life that I was able to hold on to. And so that's what's described in the book. There's 7 pearls. And then at the end, the gems are the takeaways from each chapter. And so I share, purpose, presence, courage, love and friendship, all of those things. I talk about that in the book and how I was able to manage those things while being a mother, but also caring for myself.
And that's key. Now, did you have to go back and look at things and say, okay, this is going to help. I need to put this in there. How long did it take you to write it?
The bulk of it, about a year, because I started working on it during the pandemic because my sons were away at college and my husband he was traveling that year. That was the plan. And so he was spending a lot of time where they were, coincidentally, where they were in college. So once things shut down, the 3 of them stayed together. And so I was at home with my golden doodle for like about 5 months. So I said, well, you know what, mate, I'm going to have this book done before they get here. And so that's what I did. I mean, I stayed up late at night, wrote all kinds of crazy hours. And then the book was about 80% done when they came home. And then of course they came home. And so it was just harder to find those quiet moments. So I would say that it took me like the rest of the year or whatever to do it. Yeah, I mean, because what I really wanted to do is provide a blueprint, like the anchors that sustained me during my motherhood journey might not be the same ones, but I felt like the book would be a model for other mothers to find their own.
Right.
And then also purpose is, I start off with purpose because I think with everything you do, purpose really serves you well. Remember what you're trying to accomplish. Remember what you're trying to teach your children. Remember the character traits you're trying to instill in them. And so that having those anchors and having purpose will really sustain you. It will help you to say no sometimes, and it will help you to say yes to opportunities as well.
All right. So who is the key client for you? Who is the key client that always comes to you and says, okay, I've had enough? That's it. I can't go nowhere else. These kids are driving me crazy. I don't know what to do with this one, and this one's doing that. I don't know this one. Who are the key clients for you?
The key clients for me typically are moms, but I'll certainly talk to dads. They are moms of children who are between 2 and 13. That's how it just kind of works, because that's when our children need us the most, lean on us the most. And it's also, frankly, when parents are most receptive to the help. Now, they need to support their teens as well. And there are a whole set of issues that come with that too. But what I love about that age group is the foundation you can set, the foundation you can lay down, so that when the teachable teens come around, you have something to build on with your teens. You're not starting out of nowhere trying to relate to them.
All right. I want to dive into it. This is Jump. We dive into everything. Give me your opinion right now of what's going on. You see the TikTok videos, you see the videos of the teachers and the students and how everybody's acting. Like, what do you think is going on with our students and our teens right now?
Okay, well, let me clarify. Let me get an understanding. Are you saying where the teens are being disrespectful in school?
Yeah, like you see it on TV. Like they look, to me, and with my opinion, they look frustrated. You know what I mean? There's structures and things in our society that's going on. You know, it starts at home. It starts at what can we do to help our teens now?
Well, absolutely. The pandemic really kind of shed light on the fact that sometimes our teens are really struggling.
Yes.
There are a lot of challenges. This whole social life, which is fueled by social media. Like, I didn't even have to worry about that when I was younger. That there's a lot to that because they're measuring themselves against other people they don't even know, people whose lives they really don't understand. So there's a lot going on there. And then not to mention just what happened with the pandemic. And so we've definitely got to consider that just because they're children and teens doesn't mean their life is carefree. I mean, sometimes I think parents feel like, well, I'm the one that has to go to work. I'm the one that's providing. I'm stressed. You just have to go to school and behave. You have it easy. Yeah. When it's really not as easy. And then when you think about it, I mean, school used to be a place where I knew I was safe.
Yes.
And now, I mean, they've got to learn how to respond in the event that someone comes in with a gun. So these children now have seen so much from early ages. I mean, there's, right. You have people that are still alive. That are young adults that know about Sandy Hook and then all of the shootings after that.
Right.
Right. So school is just not the haven that, it used to be. And teachers, it's an age-old problem. They're not properly compensated. They're not properly supported. I mean, back in colonial times or going way back, teachers, they were the pillars of society.
Yeah.
And as they should be, because they are shaping the minds, shaping the hearts of the next generation. And I don't believe that teachers are treated that way anymore. And so they're tired. They're frustrated. You have teachers leaving the profession in droves because they're not appreciated.
And the one thing I want to say to everybody is you're never too old to learn how to be a parent. And that's the key thing. You're never too old. Like, I'm a parent, and listening to you and listening to certain things you're saying, it's giving me a little inkling and saying, okay, I see what she's saying. I understand. I can always get better as a parent. You're never too old to learn. So if you're struggling out there, call her, go to her book, go to her class, go to her seminar, because you might be thinking, oh, I know what I'm doing. I've had 4 kids. Well, you might not know what you're doing. There might be a little something you're missing. So it's time to put your pride aside. I'm telling all parents, put pride aside. And if you need help, Carol's there.
Thank you. I'm glad you said that, because my favorite saying with parents is it's never too late to be the parent you want to be.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, let's have some fun before we let you go. Now time for Pick 3. It's not time for Pick 3. You're going to ask your last 3 questions that I never got to ask you. So you get to choose between 1 and 20. And those are the last three questions I'm going to ask you. So give me three numbers between 1 and 20.
Okay. 5, 11, and 18.
5, 11, 18. I saw you think about that 18 one. So that's something special. That's a special number right there. Okay. All right. Question number 5. What have you read or listened to recently that stuck with you that you think is so interesting?
Wow. I'm reading a book right now on purpose by Jade Simmons. It's called Purpose, the Remix. And it really is a remix because you think about purpose differently, because a lot of us think that, oh, if I'm good at it and I love doing it, that's my purpose. And that's not always true. You can exercise, you can utilize those things, your passion and things that you're good at in the service of your purpose, but they're not the same thing.
Okay. Here it is. Name 2 people, past or present, that you would love to shadow for 24 hours.
Oprah Winfrey.
Okay.
And Michelle Obama.
And why would you want to shadow each person?
Oprah Winfrey, because she is bodacious. She kind of has that spirit that I talked about earlier about getting something done. Like once you have an idea, pursuing it and just doing it courageously and doing it in excellence. And then with Michelle Obama, I can relate to her a lot. We're about the same age and all of that, both married to smart men. And, have kids, but I mean, just the way she handled herself with so much grace during those 8 years, always on point, always had the right thing to say, to inspire people during those 8 years and beyond. So I'd love to shadow her and see, how she does it all.
All right. And 18 is the tip. It says, give our listeners one tip, a parenting tip that will help. So it could be a parenting tip on any subject, any matter. Give us one little tip.
One little tip, and it's my favorite tip that I give to parents. Set an appointment with your child, a regular appointment with your child. When they're young children, it can be every day. But what it is it's called special time, or you give it your own name. But it's a period of time that you're going to spend with them. You're going to not look at your phone. You're not going to talk to anybody else. You're going to get into what they want to get into. It can be, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, maybe an hour for older children. And maybe it's once a week for older children because of all of their activities and commitments. But you spend time with them. You talk about what they want to talk about, and you engage in activity that requires you to communicate. So possibly looking at a TV show or a movie wouldn't help because you're both looking at the screen. You're not talking about anything.
Right.
But, play the game your child wants to play by your child's rules. And ask questions like, to give them more authority and they really get like, oh, she or he is really in my world. Like, this is really my time.
Right.
That I think that is so important. And it needs to be, you need to figure out when you can do it regularly, how long you can do it, so that you keep that appointment, so that they know that no matter what happens, you're going to honor that, just like you honor your business appointments or other appointments that you make outside of your family.
Oh, that's a great tip. Spending that quality time. It doesn't take much. Like you said, 1 hour a week, and it's just you and her or you and him, and then just go do that.
Yeah. And it doesn't preclude you. Obviously, you're going to be spending time with them other times throughout the week and throughout the day. But that moment is just something that they can count on. Like, I know I'm going to have mom or dad to myself.
There you go. All right. You got something special going on. Let's talk about it.
Sure. Well, I am offering my mini motherhood memoir, Mother's Work, Pearls of Wisdom and Gems from My Journey, free. Just need you to help pay the shipping and handling. But not only will you get the book, you will also get my webinar, Staying Connected in the Chaos. You'll also get the workbook, Do You Hear Me? The companion workbook. You will also get my Parenting in the Pandemic book. It's an award-winning book. You'll get that in the form of an ebook, but that book was recognized at the International Book Awards in 2022.
All right. So make sure if you're struggling right now, things are happening. And the part I keep saying, don't wait. Okay. In a blink of an eye, I know my kids were 5. Now they're all growing up, going into high school. And I'm like, where did the years go? You blink twice and that's it. You find out years are going by real fast. So spend that time, get the book, get the knowledge. And if you need help, again, she's here. She's right here on the show. I'm going to put all her links, her websites in the description. You can get it right there. Don't hesitate. Listen, it's been an honor to have you on my show. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I have thoroughly enjoyed it.
There you go. All right, everybody. What are you waiting for? It's your time. It's time to jump. You know there's something greatness out there, and maybe you need help. Maybe she's here to help you. Maybe this is the time you listen to the show. Pick up the phone, give her a call. I'd like to thank everybody for watching. We'll see you next time, everybody.
Thank you for listening. If you liked the show or have a comment, we would love to hear from you. Join our mailing list, and as always, check out our special deals links below. I hope this has inspired you to look at your life and jump. See you next week.
Hey, hope you had a great time listening to the show. If you think I did a great job, please buy me a coffee. I still got a lot of work to do. We would love to hear from you, your feedback, so please click the link and leave us a review. You can help us grow by following us on all social media platforms and sharing this link. Once again, it's time for you to jump. Success is waiting.